I really love axolotls. But, like, can you please explain why it's so important with Gravity Falls? Like, I go to the Mystery Shack website. Shout out to Mystery Shack, by the way. It's a great store. They're selling an axolotl plush, and I've never seen it in the show. I don't understand. Why is it so important?
Funny thing you should mention that. Let's talk about that. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I am Ricky, one half of the Streaming Buds.
And I'm Nat, the other half of the Streaming Buds. And this week, we will be discussing our theories and speculations over Gravity Falls and other Disney shows, otherwise known as the Disneyverse, ?
I am the one who came up with that name in the script. You're welcome. Anyway.
Copyright Ricky.
Don't give me ideas. So, we're going to talk about the axolotl. More importantly, what happened to Bill?
Wait, I know what happened to Bill. He became king and hid in the Boiling Isles.
Anyway, but really, what happened to Bill at the very end of Gravity Falls, when Bill was about to be wiped away from existence because he was in Stan's mind with the memory wiper? His final words were, when we rest, AXOLOTL. My time has come to burn. I invoke the ancient power that I may return. And that is what he said. And AXOLOTL is actually the word axolotl. And the book that actually talks about him comes from the Gravity Falls Create Your Own Adventure book, where said creature is found upon the twins in one of the endings, and where Dipper asks the axolotl about Bill, which the axolotl then says, 60 degrees that I come in threes, watches from within birch trees, saw his own dimension burn, misses home and can't return, says he's happy, he's a liar, blame the arson for the fire. If he wants to shrink the blame, he'll have to invoke my name. One way to solve his crime, a different form, a different time. And that is very cryptic, and it is very, for the last 6 years, nobody knows what that could mean. Some speculate that he lives in Stan to this day. Some speculate he takes a different form. And that whole poem kind of sums up what happened to Bill, hence blame the arson for the fire. He did that to himself. He's the reason why his downfall is there. However, the other part of it kind of takes away the backstory. And that kind of connects what my theorized mind have took it in that kind of manner. So there's this place that is very destroyed that is caused from Bill, or that is nearly destroyed. And it's like, okay, Gravity Falls is done. There's literally no other show kind of like it. Wait, is there? Hello, Our House. Hello, Amphibia. Which one of you are most likely? And I don't know. It's a very fun thought exercise to be like, I wonder if the word of the Our House, who is just a float, like they live on a floating hand now of a giant being, is that Bill's former word? Like, these people are now just very small little things where they live on a dying hand. It's like, is that where he comes from? And my whole mind of that is like, just because the whole weird dynamic, and the time chronomos, like if they didn't have power beyond belief and they weren't actual gods, they wouldn't be out of the normal for the Our House. And even though that was kind of a joke that Natalie mentioned, hey, it could possibly be true. Bill's new form is basically a dog, and that is why King acts as like a king and has that type of personalities. And it could just be that he is remembering of his former life, or maybe not. I don't know. This is a fun thought exercise, and I gave you a lot of information, Natalie. What do you think of it?
There's so much to unpack. I'm probably going to say other stuff later, but here's the thing. We don't know about King's backstory at this point in time. Again, by the time this episode airs, I think we already know King's backstory. Because right now, season 2 is still coming out for the Owl House. But imagine this. Imagine if, the end of the Owl House ended up where, revealed himself to be billcypher, and then, somehow, the worlds collided or whatever. Some weird stuff like that. That's just my mind going places.
Or maybe that he could go past a little drawing of billcypher for some reason, and he just looks at it for plus a second, that guy looks cool, and then he walks away.
Oh my gosh. I mean, a lot of people think that the Owl House and Gravity Falls are in the same kind of multiverse. And not even just those two shows, Ford and his adventures in other dimensions. But we're going to stick with the Disney shows. A part of me doesn't really want these shows to cross over at all. They're good on their own. But I'll still bring in another piece of evidence that a lot of people cite. In one of the Gravity Falls books, we see a wanted poster for Eda. We see a lot of those, back when she's the big bad owl lady before she got her powers taken away via the curse eventually. But a lot of people cite that as a crossover, because look, Eda's wanted in this dimension or this plane of existence. But again, you got to remember about Eda. She travels to the human realm where Dipper and Mabel are, basically, because they're on Earth, right? So allegedly they're in the same universe. It sounds like I'm reiterating what I'm saying. In other words, Luce lives in the same Earth as Dipper and Mabel, based on that piece of evidence. Again, the comic books are canon, according to, I think Alex Hirsch has said it as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I believe the books are canon. But yeah.
It's just kind of Easter egg because, one, they're dating currently. They respect each other, and obviously they work together. So it's just a little Easter egg. My interpretation of anything really has to be the visual media always takes first than the literature media. And that's to anything. For anything to be canon, this goes for any of future Alex Hirsch's work. If you ever speculate, oh, Bill is there, I want to see that Bill exists and it's walking, or I want to at least hear somebody from the show to confirm that these people do exist in the universe. This universe is one another. And they don't have to be connected. Again, these are just fun speculative theories, guys. These are nothing to go on these are proven. This is 100% foil proof. No, it's just fun to speculate. And it's fun to see that these characters that have similar creators and similar people who writing it are interacting with each other. It would just be fun if Ford interacted with Eda, just because in my opinion, the serious type interacting with the funny type is always a blast. But that's just me, guys.
Yeah, I respect that a lot, Ricky. I would kind of say the same as well. If the creator explicitly says that it's canon, it's canon. But other than that, you got to go with the media first. The books are kind of an additional thing. And I'll pull in an example. A regular show ended on a weird kind of note with the characters, and they still had a comic book series for them called 25 Years Later. Now, is that canon? I believe so. As a regular show fan, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's canon because it uses the characters that were seen at the very end. So I believe it has the potential to be canon. The only ones that can really make it so are the creators. Going back to the axolotl thing, that was said in the book, and that was the one piece that was explicitly said as canon. So, based on what you read from it, it sounds like Bill could return. It sounds like Bill has the potential to return, which makes me speculate a Gravity Falls revival, where Dipper and Mabel come back maybe older, maybe late teens, young adult years, just so that they age with their audience. I feel like that'd be best because one example I'm going to take is the iCarly revival. Now, some of the characters have come back. Obviously, they have aged with their audience, and the show itself reflects that. And because it does so, it has become more successful. So I've heard. I haven't watched it yet. I'm planning on watching it, but that's what I've been hearing so far. So if Gravity Falls takes that same kind of direction, if it were to come back, I feel like it'd be even bigger and better than ever. But is it in its best interest to come back? Ricky, what are your thoughts on all that?
It also more or less depends on what Disney wants, because they own the characters, they own the licensee of it all, and how we kind of just touch about in our first episode on streaming services, these corporations own the content that is provided. Would it be in the best interest for Disney to have a show like this or do something similar? If they ever try to do a iCarly situation, when they see that it is a successful model, they might use they might reuse the whole like Lizzie McGuire thing they had and then boot it out, because like,
I like how you mentioned the whole corporation involvement kind of thing, because they do own these properties. Going back to the iCarly example, a lot of people are wanting Ned's Declassified to come back, but Nickelodeon or Viacom said, no, we're not going to do this. We don't see this as a worthy effort. But even the creator was like, hey, I'm on board to come back. So I guess it all depends on like how shows like iCarly do during their run. Maybe the iCarly revival will be some sort of beacon. And personally, I hope Ned's Declassified comes back again, because it would age with the audience, and the premise would be how to survive adulthood or just how to survive life. I think it could be a worthy effort. And nostalgia sells.
Yeah, Natalie, based on what I read, it seemed that the main actor for Ned tried to a revival series for a while with the executives at Nickelodeon and Viacom with CBS. And unfortunately, they just didn't want to do the rights, and they didn't want to set up the whole spiel of it when those meetings were happening. With the success of iCarly, will it happen? I don't know. It just depends on how they feel, and it depends on all of that boring jazz, because yeah, money is how these things get funded in the end of it. Hopefully the lesson that corporations get from this is that they are continuing the story that was talked about and not just rebooting it with old characters and doing the same exact thing as they did before.
I will also add that at this point in time, I still think it's too late for Gravity Falls to come back, because 6 years since it ended. And when it first started, it's been almost like 10 years. I feel like in the iCarly example, there could have been some more time. Make it feel more nostalgic, So if Gravity Falls were to come back, at least for me, if it had the capacity to do so, then I think they should wait maybe another 7 years. I don't know. Make it extra nostalgic. Another example I'll pull in. At this point in time, this information is still kind of new, but a lot of people are going crazy over this. Scooby-Doo is crossing over with Courage the Cowardly Dog, and that's not coming out until September, and it's going to be straight to DVD. But a lot of people are excited for this. Do you know why? Because of Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's been almost 20 years since these characters have seen the air or any sort of media. And I'm interested to see how big of a boom this is going to be, especially because it's going straight to DVD. It's not even going on any cable or streaming. It's going straight to DVD. I might need to do some more research on that, because I feel like it should be on streaming, right? Because it's kind of the age we're in. So in a way, that could be another sort of beacon, showing that the longer you keep these properties in the vault, the better it's going to be when they come back. if they were to come back. We're just seeing a lot of nostalgia nowadays. And
how do I feel about a Gravity Falls revival? I think it would be fun. Like, I honestly would love to see that these characters come back in some capacity, and I wish that hopefully that Alex Hurst and Disney works again together to bring back a compelling story. Maybe like Dipper and Mabel come with their kids to, and like they show them the summer, or like about the weirdness, or that it's just a great fast forward on Dipper just being the adventurer that he is, a weird, or that he always wants to be, putting in forward footstep, and Mabel helping her brother in some capacity. Or I don't know, like it could just be so much different potential you could do with that concept. And the reason why I really love Gravity Falls for what they did is because they really took the whole cryptid zoology aspect that is used often in media, and they turned it on its head. Instead of like treating it as anything serious, they understand that it's silly fun, and these are things that you could really flesh out in animation and make crazy, funny stuff. I don't know. I think a part of me who want me for Gravity Falls to exist with other Disney shows and for a whole universe to create is because I really miss it. And I just want to see the characters to act out more, or have cameos, or exist in some capacity.
yeah, that's a valid point, Ricky. There's just a lot of different things they could do with it if they were to do so. Again, depending on the length of time, like, I guess they keep it in the vault, for lack of a better term. We talked about this topic pretty briefly during our Owl House episode way back in the Radio DePaul days. That was one of our archive episodes. Stay tuned for the release of that. But we talked about a lot of Gravity Falls, surprisingly, in that episode. And one of those topics was a hot topic that I've seen on the internet. Ida and Stan being in a relationship. Because, you know, oh, the universes are connected. They could have been together at some point. I was like, okay. So I wanted to bring this up to Ricky because at that point, he knew the characters in Gravity Falls. He had watched it at the time. And I feel like he would have a better answer to this. So we're going to talk about it again. Ricky, do you think Ida and Stan would be a good relationship? Or maybe someone else could be better fit? I don't know. This is so insane to me. Like, it's just so interesting to think about.
Do I think that Grunko Stan and Ida would be a good couple? No. Just because they're so similar, they both like doing illegal things. I think that would just be the worst pairing in the universe for both reasons. I mean, at one end, they would kind of both deal with each other, but at the other end, I think they would just get on each other's nerves. I honestly think that Stan is the type of person who he would be annoyed about himself. Like if he had to interact to one himself, because like, why are you always stealing things or something like that? But also, I think perhaps that his twin brother Ford would be a better fit because, again, it's that dynamic between the funny one and the serious one. And Ford had to deal with his funny twin brother who does a lot of crazy illegal shenanigans for years, even before he was trapped in a multiverse. I think it would be hilarious to see that dynamic. Or even with the release of Our House Season 2, we're starting to understand Lilith as a character, because initially she was just a big bad. Like, pairing would that be? Like, is Ida even the person that we would want to pair with? Like, what if she just doesn't want to be with anybody? What if she just likes being alone? Like,
I want to agree with you with the Ford and Ida potential pairing, because here's the thing. If they're in the same universe or multiverse, right? You need to travel to the other, like, universe. Stan has never done that. Only Ford has done that. So hypothetically, Ford would only be the one to meet Ida.
Yeah, hypothetically. Like, that's also why I kind of think it's because he'd been traveling to who knows where, to multiple different areas. And I also really love that he is like kind of that Poindexter type trope, but he also had to be strong to survive living it. And I think that was something that Ida probably would respect. And like, it's the whole thing, like, have the two most powerful characters in, well, two most powerful, not God slash not villain characters to interact and be in a relationship or just be good friends. Like you could theorize, how did Ida even learn that the human realm existed? How does she know how to interact with people like that? Where does she get this knowledge from? But also, it's just a thought experiment to ship these two characters. Like, Ford always thinks he's a weird guy, no matter what, because of the six fingers. It wouldn't be too much a stretch that the only person who would be infatuated with somebody who loses arms and limbs on a daily fashion would be a person who also sees themselves as a freak. And I would definitely pair those two together if I could.
No, I completely agree, for sure. Yeah, it's just interesting to like think about because like a lot of people have like been bringing it up. So just seeing like kind of like how they might pair up, or the kind of puzzle pieces like that could fit. I don't know. The magic of fandoms. That's all I'll say.
And that was our discussion of the speculation and theories of Gravity Falls. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode on this almost decade-old show. This was the Streaming Buds. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Nat. Follow us on Twitter at StreamingBuds, capital S, capital B, and on Instagram at TheStreamingBuds, all lowercase, all one word. If you like this episode, like, comment, and subscribe.